Hi, I'm Natalie, and this is Gluten-Free and Grounded, where we keep things real, grounded, and gluten-free. In today's video, we're gonna dive into our recent trip to Disney World, where I got to experience all the gluten-free foods. We went during Food and Wine Festival, and we went to Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Disney Springs. What I ate, what I loved, what I didn't, and my expectations for Disney as a gluten-free person. The research I had to do, what was easy, what was hard, and just the realities of being gluten-free going to the Disney parks. Now, my overall experience going into Disney, I had my expectations low, knowing this is a big park. I had heard great things about the changes for being more friendly to food sensitivities, but I had no idea what level they were at. My diet and restrictions were put on the back burner, but it didn't ruin my experience. I knew right off the bat that there were quite a few different options. Starlight Cafe over by the Speedway had burgers and fries and gluten-free buns at Casey's off Main Street. I really wasn't worried about trying to find something. Usually what it comes down to is something that I actually want. I may not be in the mood for a hot dog, but there is a gluten-free bun. So I knew there was at least something I could get almost anywhere. If you've never experienced gluten-free at Disney, every single time you go up to a counter, you communicate with them. You say, hey, I'm gluten-free, I'm gluten intolerant, I'm celiac, and they'll give you a gluten-free menu. Like, it's a nutritional menu, and it's for different allergies. It's really cool. So they have shellfish, they have soy, they have gluten, they have egg, they have dairy. So all of it is written down of like anything that you're looking for. If you're gluten-free and dairy-free or soy-free, you can find it on that menu. It's really easy to find, but it's not listed on their normal menu. They are super easy to work with. Once you get that menu, you can go up to the front, let them know, hey, I'm getting this gluten-free. Everyone should be on the same page. I only ran into it a couple times where I was asking a question. Epcot particularly was not as gluten-friendly in the sense that they had it marked. No menu had gluten-free options. I had to ask to verify. They had a separate phone, and they said, let me call the line and make sure. So they would call, and they would ask my name. They would say, hey, I have Natalie here. She's gluten-free. Is this entree gluten-free? And then they would get on the phone. They'd have a staff saying, yes, this is gluten-free. Then they went to the chef, and they personally made mine separate, and it was gluten-free with a little purple tag that said gluten-free. It did take longer for my food to come out, but it was fresh. In the Epcot side, during the food and wine festivals, it is very mass produced because they have small bites, small portions that you can buy a lot of. They have a lot pre-made under heaters. What I've heard is that flavors can vary depending on the section you got when things are mass produced. The attention to detail isn't as perfect as other things Disney has to offer. That was a little bit sometimes annoying because if I went in knowing that it was a gluten-free item, but I do want to be extra careful, and I know that they're serving other items that aren't gluten-free, I still wanted to have them verify and then have it made separate because it can wreck my day if I have gluten. It did take a while longer for mine to come out rather than normal food, but mine was always hot and fresh. So going in, just have that mindset of knowing that they're gonna probably call and just verify, which is nice, and it was a peace of mind for you of knowing that whatever you're ordering is gonna be gluten-free. Now, they do have a caveat saying, hey, we do have separate fryers, we do have separate oils, we do have a separate station, but you'll never see 100% gluten-free. I think it's like their law background. Disney will make sure their back is always covered. So there was nothing ever that I saw check marked as certified celiac safe, because they will come out and say, hey, just so you know, this is our gluten-friendly menu. Here are all the steps that we're taking to really be gluten-free. But just so you know, if something were to happen, we're not saying this is absolutely gluten-free, which I understand. Everyone's gonna have their risks, especially in a place like Disney, feeding so many people. Accidents can happen, which as a gluten-free person, anytime you eat, you are taking a risk outside of your own home and controlled environment. Day one, we went to Magic Kingdom and it was overwhelming. If you've never been to Disney World, it is massive. Looking at the map and trying to figure out where we were and where everything was and figuring out Lightning Lane, that's a whole other video. If you want me to go into my experience trying to figure out Lightning Lane, I am happy to go into that. But let me dive into all the things that I did try at Magic Kingdom and the things that were really great and worth it. We were jumping from one end of the park to another and didn't plan when we were going to eat. Hindsight's 2020. We should probably do that from then on. And we didn't have any reservations. We didn't plan to eat at a nicer restaurant. We were just planning to grab whatever we wanted, which ended up working out fine. We passed Casey's. None of us were in the mood for hot dogs. So we made our way over. We found on the map Pecos Bill Cafe, which I had not heard anything about being gluten-free. But I figured since it was a Tex-Mex place that they'd at least have rice and beans. At Pecos Bill, they have lots of different options that you can have that are gluten-free. One of the ones that I did, it was a chicken bowl, chicken and rice bowl. So it had chicken, rice, beans, pico, and I got some chipotle queso on the side. That was gluten-free. Wasn't the best flavor, I will say, like not my pick. If I were to go back, I wouldn't be dying to try the bowl, but it was filling, especially for how much they charge. I was surprised at the portion because that's sometimes what I hear about Disney is that you are charged a lot for what you get. I had no complaints about what I was getting, so I filled up on that. It was okay. It was not the best that I've ever had, and it definitely wasn't the worst. So if you're needing just a quick protein, stop. Pecos Bill Cafe has chicken bowls and other proteins. Later that night, we went to the Starlight Cafe that's over on the side by Speedway. Starlight Cafe is a burger place. I had heard that they offer chicken tenders, but I did not see that on the menu. Gluten-free at least. Somewhere in the park you can get chicken tenders. I ended up getting the chicken sandwich with a truffle aioli sauce with fries. The aioli sauce saved it. The bun, being gluten-free, it's gonna be a little dry. This one in particular was pretty dry. And then the way that Starlight Cafe works, like a cafeteria where you go in line, order, and your food is made for you. And then the toppings for all of the burgers is like in the center area where you go and pick. Being gluten-free, they will have your toppings separate and they will bring it like out on your tray when they give you and deliver your food to you, just for cross-contamination sake, so that no one's touching their bun and then grabbing their lettuce and putting it on. It comes in little carton trays and you can get lettuce, tomato, pickles, and sauces for your fries or for your burger. Now, Starlight Cafe, I will say, fries are always a really big treat for me because restaurants in Pittsburgh don't always have a separate fryer for fries. Anytime I do get French fries, it's like a surprise treat for me. So I did really like the French fries at Starlight Cafe. I'm not a good judge if they're good compared to others because I don't eat them often. Another thing about Disney, I always love a good Diet Coke, and their Diet Coke is very crisp, very clean, very cold at Disney. And so that with my chicken burger was so good. Another treat we had to hit at Magic Kingdom is the famous Dole Whip. Now, I am an OG Disney person back in the day, Disneyland when I grew up in California. So Dole Whip back then was literally, you just got Dole Whip. It was only the pineapple. So I made the mistake of standing in line at a different Dole Whip location because I thought any Dole Whip would have the original pineapple Dole Whip because that's what I thought Dole Whip is. But I learned that if you are standing in the line that has the orange and strawberry Dole Whip, you are only getting orange or strawberry Dole Whip. You cannot get pineapple Dole Whip at that location. So I waited in this whole long line to find out at the checkout. No, you cannot get pineapple Dole Whip. If you want to get pineapple Dole Whip, you have to go all the way back to the other location and go get your pineapple Dole Whip and wait in line again. So we did, because I was not sacrificing getting an orange drink that I knew nothing about. Some people did, they liked it. I did not try it because I was saving room for my pineapple Dole Whip. So we went and I had to have my husband try the original Dole Whip. We got the Dole Whip float with the pineapple juice. So good. Honestly, if I were to go back, I would probably just get the original pineapple Dole Whip by itself because that alone is just so freaking good. I could just eat that for forever. And then my husband got the mango Dole with chamoy and chili sauce. That was amazing. Dole Whip, anything is so good. My kids were going crazy. And that is a naturally gluten-free, so you know that you can have that treat. Second day, going into Epcot, I knew that day was going to be a gluten-free day. I did take the time to research a little bit more because with the Food and Wine Festival, I had heard so much about the great foods at each and every country stand. And so I wanted to take full advantage of knowing what I could eat. And I had heard beforehand that they don't write on the menu what is or isn't gluten-free, so you need to research before. Because something I've learned about Disney is it's hard to find on their websites or any sites other than someone's blog the nutritional facts about what you're eating. So other than, again, calling or going to the cash register and then them calling up a person and saying, is this gluten-free or not? Which can take some time. So if you're not sure and then need to ask, it does eat up quite a bit of your time. So I went in knowing at each country, okay, I want to try these dishes. So we started off going towards Spain. So Spain was my first stop. I knew I wanted to try the paella. Paella is a rice dish that is full of seafood. I've had some really great paellas at some Spanish restaurants. So I was like, I'm gonna try it, see how it measures up. I've heard it's good. The paella was a little too salty for me. It was the first dish of the day, mid-morning. It didn't hit for me. The only saving grace, it had a lot of seafood, mussels, scallops, and shrimp. The scallops were just teeny tiny. I've never seen a scallop that small, but the scallops were delicious, which was surprising because that's usually like a hit or miss item. That's what saved the dish for me. If you're a seafood person and you're okay with it being salty, paella at Spain is gonna be your dish. Okay, so after paella, we went to Greece, and at Greece, I did not know this because no one had listed it on their blog. So this is important. Their griddled cheese is gluten. Now, if you have never had griddled cheese, let me introduce you to a new world, and it's gonna blow your mind. It is not a grilled cheese sandwich. It is a cheese that is grilled and drizzled with honey. This one has a pistachio crumb on top. It is very fresh cheese. So it is very, I don't know how to say this other than cow forward. If you like fresh cheese, and you like the more raw taste, then this is for you. But if you do not like a heavy, fresh cheese flavor, this might not be for you. But give it a try because it's something different, and it's one of mine and my husband's favorite things to get when we find a griddled cheese, because we just love melted cheese with that pop of sweet with the honey. Next, Mexico. And at Mexico, it was more of a whole entree. Not as much as like those little teeny tiny plates. We got the tacos with rice and beans, which naturally, as long as they're corn tortillas, are gonna be gluten-free. Those were fine. They're not the best tacos I've ever had. I'm gonna be a hard judge on what is good and what isn't for a taco. They were okay. In India, anytime we see a mango lassi, we're gonna get it. We've had very authentic mango lassis before, and this one was pretty good for just being a stand at an amusement park, but not the best I've ever had. Some are delicious and very yogurty. This one was not very yogurty. It was pretty thin. More like blended mango than yogurt. With India, it was interesting. They had a tikka masala, but it was a tikka masala with a naan. And so I just assumed going up and talking to someone, this was one of my first experiences in Epcot of dealing with what was going to be the case for every food stand. So when I went up and I asked if the tikka masala was gluten-free, which I assumed it was because I've never met a tikka masala that isn't gluten-free. The girl did not know. And that was a first for my experience at Disney. Up to that point, everyone usually knew. She's like, I have no idea. Maybe I can call. It was early in the day and it was still morning that I was like, do I really want to take a masala right now? Not really. It's more for just like that I can eat it because I figured it would be gluten-free. So I don't know if that one is considered gluten-free. The only thing I debate is you're paying for the naan too. If they're going to take that off and charge you the same price, to me, sometimes it's not worth it unless you're really wanting that food. Now, the downside for this, a lot of the Asian countries, there's not much other than drinks you could get. There are things like boba teas and other drinks that are gluten-free, but I wasn't ordering those. I was looking for food. In my journey, I was on a mission to find Brazil. Getting to Brazil took forever, and I was waiting and looking for Brazil because that's what I knew would have what I was looking for, which is it is freaking good. It is like a bean stew in Brazil. And it is a famous dish that has all of these different proteins cooked into it. It's slow roasted and it's just delicious. I'm gonna butcher this for any Brazilians, but pão de queijo, which is a cheese bread. And I heard going in that the cheese bread was a hit. And if you're gluten-free, it's like the number one thing that you need to make sure that you have at the Food and Wine Festival. I even get the ones you can bake in your oven because I love the texture and taste. And so going in, I was really excited because I had heard such great things, but eating it, it was just okay. It wasn't the best I've had, so I just might have a very high bar for my cheese breads, but they're huge, which is not normal for getting cheese breads. So they're a very large portion. And they were good. I'm not complaining saying that they were gross, but it was definitely not the best I've ever had. And the fact that I was putting it so high up there and had very high expectations, I think probably ruined it a little bit for me. But if you're looking to try it for the first time, it's really good and you should try it. If it's not at Disney, you should seek it out somewhere else. The best thing I had at Epcot, I did not go in thinking that it was going to be gluten-free. And in fact, I didn't even see it being bought. And it was just a surprise to me that my husband brought me and said, here, this is for you. And this is gluten-free. I checked and it had the purple stick sticking out. And I was so excited. It was poutine from Canada. It was a slow roasted pot roast style one. And it was so good. I don't know if it was because I had zero expectations. I've never tried poutine. I've heard about it, the gravy with the cheese curds, and it was so good. If you go, try the poutine. Promise you will not be disappointed. People said in the past it has been marked as gluten-free, and so people have said, hey, go, if you're gonna check it out, ask. I am so glad my husband did because it made the whole day worth it. The portion size of that one was really good. It wasn't just a teeny tiny plate. Like the paella was a tiny portion. And the seafood, it was like microscopic. I had been on the hunt for Odyssey wings and Fry Flight. But since we were on this like loop that we were making through the park, we had little kids and also older grandparents with us that were struggling because it was very hot. And it was our like third, fourth day into the trip, so we had already been like walking around. By the time that we made it around, it was nighttime and it was getting ready for the big fireworks show. So I finally found Fry Flight, which if you are looking, Fry Flight, it makes sense, but it's over by like the more galactic side of the park, simulating going through space. That's where they are. So Fry Flight had this trio of fries that you could get, and you could get them all gluten-free. That was one, it took a really long time. They had to call and verify, and no one was picking up on that line, which I guess is not normal because there should always be someone from Disney picking up the line. So that was interesting, but I found out that every single one of them should be gluten-free. I did not try, I think they had a sweet potato and like cinnamon butter one with like marshmallow on it. But what I did get was a full serving of their fried yuca and truffle garlic fries. I was a little disappointed because the fried yuca comes with this like garlic aioli, and it's this vegan one. I've never tried a vegan aioli before. The fried yuca is very dense, very crispy, maybe like a little bit overdone, and so not my favorite flavor of the aioli either. So that was a disappointment because I went in being like, I want this fried yuca so bad and I know it's going to be delicious. So by the end of the day, having waited for it and then having to wait for it even longer, it was disappointing. Their truffle garlic fries were very truffle forward. So personally, was not my favorite. I wish that I did the smaller portions. It was way too much food by that point in the night. I made my way to Odyssey Wings, which is on the same path if you're going the way that we went, which was going from India, Spain, Mexico, Brazil, France, Canada, and then making your way all the way around the Earth and the space side and going around to Fry Flight. Then you will make your way to Odyssey. And so Odyssey is where they have chicken wings. And if I see that there is an option to eat gluten-free chicken wings, I'm going to take it. And so I went and ordered every single option that was gluten-free, which they have the Korean wings, garlic parm, and Carolina Reaper and curry. If you are a fan of the curry from Buffalo Wild Wings, then that is going to be your jam. Now, one thing I did learn, caveat, the curry from Buffalo Wild Wings is not gluten-free because they use, I think, a soy sauce in their sauce. So the Carolina Reaper with curry is gluten-free. Now, I will say, for waiting for these wings, it was so long and no one prepared me for how long this was going to take. I wish that, like, in having that talk of, hey, this is gluten-free, they had to make the phone call, they verified it was gluten-free, they ordered all of them. No one told me I had to wait. It makes sense. It's a fresh order. They have to make separate. It's going to be like made to order. So it's frying the chicken fresh and then doing the sauce, making sure it's gluten-free. But I was there for 10, 15 minutes just waiting. Even the pickup person was like, what are you waiting for? Are you sure you're at the right place? Did we mess up your order? And I'm like, I'm doing gluten-free. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. And she was like, okay, hopefully they're out soon. But it took a really long time. So just go in with expectations set. Since it was the end of the night, everyone was trying to get their dinner. It made it a little difficult. So if you're wanting to try the wings, give yourself ample time and have the expectation set that it's going to take a while to get your wings cooked. So going into the flavors, Korean, garlic parm, 1 being the best and 3 being my least favorite. Carolina Reaper and curry was my number 1. It was freaking hot. Like, I think they say it's stupid hot because it's Carolina Reaper. But the flavor on that one, I think, was the best, in my opinion. My personal, spicy, loving opinion, the Carolina Reaper was number 1. Number 2 probably was the Korean. They use a gochujang sauce, and I really like gochujang. That was probably number 2. But again, they weren't my favorite. I don't know what it was. The chicken wings are huge, and I find that when wings are too big, there's too much meat and there's not as much of the sauce and flavor. To me, that was a downside. Which to other people, maybe that's not, maybe that's a, yes, they're huge and you're gonna love them. And then 3, my lowest ranked is the garlic parm. Now I know for some people, they absolutely die for garlic parm. I'm not one of those people because I love spicy food and the garlic parm is just like too mellow for me. And honestly, I did not get like the garlic parm flavor coming through. It just tasted creamy. So that did not hit for me. I ordered 3 portions. So it was a lot of food. And my husband had gotten all of the Mexican food and my son a burger. So there was so much food. And we had the full fries. Because they were not favorite, I think the only one I actually finished was the Carolina Reaper and curry. My husband did not like the curry. I touched the Carolina Reaper and then was trying to, I had gotten the garlic parm because I knew I could give it to my kids because it had no spice and they could have some. But I touched it and then picked up the other wing to feed them. Even just that teeny bit, I had cleaned off my fingers, but the spice that was still there, it transferred and it ended up burning my 2-year-old's mouth. They did not want to eat any of the wings after that because even that tiny bit of spice was too much for them. So no one wanted to eat the wings. Now, we're gonna make our way to Disney Springs. Disney Springs, if you've never been there, is like an open mall with different shops and Disney restaurants. This is a part of Disney that you don't have to pay admission for. It's worth it to go, even if you're just in the area, to just spend a day going to Disney Springs and trying out the restaurants they have there. I was so pleasantly surprised going to Disney Springs. I thought because it was off official location of all of the parks, that maybe the quality wouldn't be like as high, but I would say it's opposite. Each restaurant really, like, their bars are set so high. We went in without a reservation and it was an Irish pub. We were meeting up with some friends, and so it was like, well, this will be fun because they had live entertainment. So we went. There was a 3-hour wait if we wanted to eat in the restaurant, and if we wanted to eat outside, which it was really hot, but we were like, sure, we have little kids that need to eat dinner, so let's go. They sat us right then, but man, oh man, that was my very first experience with Disney dietary restrictions, and they were incredible. Everyone knew their stuff, where that set the bar high with all of the employees knowing what is gluten-free. And if they don't know, they will find out. That was the first place they were cautious, saying, this is not celiac, like safe, approved. But here's all the things that we've done to make sure that it is safe for you to eat. That was the first restaurant that I have seen fish and chips. A gluten-free fish and chips available just on menu. When I was looking, they were like, you know what, we're really good at gluten-free. You can get pretty much anything on the menu. And whenever I see fish and chips on the menu, I just automatically know, bummer, I can't have that. It's the malt, the breading, everything. I can never have that. So when I heard I could have fish and chips, it was amazing. Of course I ordered it, but I was bummed because they had all of these really great things on the menu. Braised short rib and shepherd's pie, really hearty comfort food. My husband is amazing. Even though he's not gluten-free, every time we eat out, he knows that if we're at a place that has lots of really great gluten-free options, that I'm limited with what I can have. And sometimes there's 2 things that I really want and I can only get one. He orders the other thing gluten-free so I can share and try what he's having. So sometimes he sacrifices, like he really wanted to get the fish and chips glutinous for him, but he didn't, so I could try the slow braised beef. Everything was so good. Being gluten-free 5 to 10 years, you had so much life before then of experiencing food, so you know all of the old foods you used to have and how good they were. So getting my gluten-free fish and chips, someone right across from me got the gluten. Mine was bigger, flakier, crispier. It was the best experience ever. Getting a gluten-free dish and it being better than the non-gluten-free is the absolute best feeling in the entire world. That whole experience at that Irish pub, if you have downtime, go to Disney Springs. Those restaurants were better than any food that I ate in the Disney parks. By far, the service was amazing and the themed restaurants were really cool. Halfway through our dinner, a fiddle gave a live performance. We were outside assuming that we'd miss out, but we got a live performer and we were in Ireland. It was amazing. Overall, it was a huge win being gluten-free at Disney. I was really happy with the trip. Everyone was taken care of and there was no hitch in the plan by saying we can't go there because I'm gluten-free and there's nothing that I could order, and then them being like, oh, just get a salad. There was none of that. You could have whatever you wanted as long as you went to the places that you knew that you could get something good that you actually wanted. There was an option for you. Disney World has my stamp of approval for being gluten-free. Another interesting fact, with Epcot, even if you don't make it this year and you're watching this in the future. This was Epcot 2025 Food and Wine Festival. I have heard from lots of people that they rotate their menus and some things will change. Most things are the same for the next year. So if you're watching for the 2026 Food and Wine Festival, hopefully a lot of these menu options are still available and you can enjoy them next year. Thanks for watching. Stay kind and stay grounded. If you're looking for more gluten-free content, I will be putting out more videos showing how to get support in your own gluten-free journey and how to love and support those who are gluten-free in your lives. Subscribe, like, comment to help me grow this community so we can love and support one another.